I'm going to show you a proven script that works with demonstrating value to buyer clients, and it helps them understand why you are the most valuable agent that they should be working with. Now, whether the NAR settlement is approved as is and you have to get a buyer representation agreement signed all the time or not, it doesn't really matter, because you do want to be the person that they see as standing out, having something unique and valuable to offer. But it's not just bells and whistles. What I mean is helping them identify the current problem that they have and letting them know that you have the solution. Let's jump right into the script that is proven to work when converting buyers to be exclusively working with you and why they would choose you as their agent. Let's jump right in. So the reality is this, that most homeowners are actually going about searching for a home in the wrong way. What they're truly doing is they are using what I call, and what we call inside of my group, reactive home search method. And here's what that sounds like. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You go online, you get the notification, you get the email, and you get notified that a house is now publicly available. Well, there starts problem number one. It becomes publicly available, meaning everybody else can see it. And so it's a rush to that house. If it's something that they really like, then they rush to it. And that's a reactive method. They're reacting to what's coming onto the market. But the problem is they have no distinct advantage, because as they react, so anybody else could react, right? And so what I'm going to help them do is understand that they are using a broken home search model. It's not because their agent's bad. It's not because they're dumb. It's just because that model is what most people use. And unfortunately, it's flawed because it creates that reactive response and people flooding to a house. And then guess what happens? It's already gone. There's multiple offers. The price gets bid up. They're asking you to remove contingencies. All these different things happen. And even happening right now in a slower market, in most markets, there's still battles over homes, not because there's so much demand, but because there's so little inventory. And so this is how we help them unlock it. So I'll walk you through the script and we'll play, and I'll take some pauses in between to explain why I said what I said. But let's jump right in. Whenever I'm following up with the buyer, I'm communicating with them in any way. Maybe I'm at an open house, maybe I'm at a showing, maybe I'm talking to them at a networking event or a holiday party. It doesn't really matter. This is still going to work, because when they describe how they're going about their home search is when I get to dig in. So usually I'll say, hey, how long have you been looking for a home in this area? They'll tell me. And if it's anything like ridiculously long, a month or two or anything like that, I'm going to go, really? So a month? Wow, okay. Because I want them to see immediately that I think that might be a little off. And so out of curiosity, my next question should be, and I'm going to be curious, I'm going to have a curious face, right? Maybe even lean my head a little bit. But out of curiosity, what I want to figure out is, well, so how have you been going about finding the homes that you're looking at if you've been viewing homes? And usually they'll say, oh, online. I go, okay, like what tools online? They go, oh, well, I get an email from, some agent, or I go on Zillow, or I go on realtor.com or Homes or whatever it is, right? And so what they do is they go, that's how I'm looking. I go, okay, cool. What else are you doing? They go, oh, well, we go to open houses and we're on Sundays after church. Okay, great. What else? And I want to what else them to death. And the reason why is because I want them to start getting to the place where they go, well, is there more? Right? Because you and I know this as agent, there is more. They could go out, no, they would never do this, but they could go out door knocking. They could pull property records to figure out who's a landlord and is an out-of-state owner that has a lot of equity and might stand to just, get their tenants out and sell the house directly to them and cash out a bunch of money because maybe they're tired of being a landlord and dealing with tenants and toilets and all that fun stuff. Well, the reality is they're not going to do any of that. But they also don't know that that's what we do as agents. So what I want to do is go, what else? And eventually they're going to reach the end of the rope and go, well, nothing. I look at houses on Zillow, an agent sends me listings every week, and I drive neighborhoods to go see open houses when I see the signs. Oh, okay. So right now, what you're doing is basically what we call reacting to the market. You're using a method called the reactive home search method. So let me confirm that, though. Tell me if this sounds familiar. I always want to make sure that they know that I understand them. So I always insert a tell me if this sounds familiar, or tell me if this seems like something that happens to you a lot, or has this happened to you before, right? Some version of that. Tell me if this sounds familiar. So what I'll do is I'll paint the picture for them. And I go, okay, so you see a house online, maybe you're on your lunch break at work, and you see a house online, you really like it, you look at the photos, maybe you send it to your husband or wife, and an hour or two later when they have the chance, they send back heart eye emoji, right? And then you go, great, let me go book it with the agent, right? And then you call the agent, and a lot of times they're like, okay, but we got to hustle because there's already offers, or you guys get there and there's a ton of people there, or the open house isn't until Saturday at 1 and that's the first available showing, and then you get there and there's a line outside the door. Does that sound familiar? Or when you're ready to make an offer, there's already multiple offers and you have to outbid, and then you kind of get discouraged. Does that sound familiar? And when they say yes, I want them to understand that I understand them. It's similar to when I'm working with a doctor, right? A doctor comes, you go into the doctor and the doctor goes, well, what are your symptoms? And they go, well, here's what it is. And they go, well, let me talk to you. Does it hurt when I do this? And you go, right? What we're doing is we're confirming the pain that exists. And then the doctor goes, oh, okay. Well, here's what's wrong, right? They diagnose. Well, that's what I'm doing. I go, so you're reacting to the market. Right? That's the problem. You're using, and I don't use these words, but in my head, I'm like, I just diagnosed them with reactive home search-itis, right? That's the sickness that they have. That's the sickness that their home search has, at least, is they're being plagued with reactive home search-itis. And what I want to do is help write a prescription. So the conversation goes like this. How long you been looking in the area? How have you been looking for homes? What else? Oh, okay. So you might be using a reactive home search method. Let me confirm that. Does this sound familiar? I paint the picture. They go, yes. And I go, oh, I get it now. Well, you are using what we call reactive home search method. And the problem with that is it creates those pain points. Lots of competition, driving up the price point, feeling like you're always behind on everything, and you can't really catch up or catch your breath. What we've done, now I'm going to introduce my different model. What we've done is we've taken that model of reactive home search and we've completely changed it and shifted on its head. What we do is we put together a buyer blueprint with you. And instead of just reacting to the market and waiting for something to come on that matches your criteria, what we do in addition to that is that we proactively go out and generate inventory for you based on the blueprint. So we go from reactive to proactive. And the goal and the target of that proactive method, right, which I call blank, right? You can call it your off-market bonanza, whatever you want to call it, right? And I recommend that you name it. It could be the first look program. Boom, that's what we call it, by the way. It's not trademarked. Feel free to steal it. What we use is the first look program, where we're able to get you in front of houses that no one else is seeing, or at least be there first. Now, I can't guarantee that the house that you end up buying is something that we find off market, but here's what I can tell you is that every single night when you go to bed during your home search, when you're working with me and we're using this first look program, you know this. Every stone is being overturned. Every resource available to find you a home is being exhausted. Rather than just reacting to the market, we're being proactive. And it's really that difference of reactive versus proactive that genuinely makes us agents valuable, right? Now, you have to have a process. Now, chances are you do have some version of a process, but you have to really dial it in and say, every buyer, every time, I'm going to run this process. It might be sending letters. It might be door knocking. It might be doing all those things. Maybe you're getting data from your title rep to go figure out who's a non-owner occupied out-of-state owner with more than 60% equity who currently rents out the house and in the last 3 years put a for rent by owner or a for rent up on the MLS. Well, that's somebody who has turnover on their property, right? You get the point. I'm making a specific effort to go out and try to find inventory for them based on their blueprint. Now, the reason why I like to do that is because that also lets them know, in order for me to get to work and find you and completely change your home search from reactive to proactive, I first have to build a blueprint. And in order to build a blueprint, all we need to do is simply set a 15-minute appointment so we can sit down and build your blueprint together. That way, me and my team can get to work on proactively generating inventory specifically for you. Here's a couple reasons why I say proactively generate inventory for you instead of off markets. Everyone else says off markets. In addition to that, if you've ever said, hey, I can get you off market properties, you've probably run into this problem. Oh, great. Send me the list. Can you just email me that list of off market properties? That's a whole big issue, because the reality is, if you have a list of off-market properties, why aren't you already selling them, right? That's a whole different thing. But the reality is, that's a way for them to just kind of push you off and say, nah, if you got off-market, so did the last person. They have off-market properties. Just send me the list if you actually can perform. They're actually calling you out on that. Whereas when I say we need a blueprint to proactively generate inventory for you, what I am saying is off market, sure, but what I'm saying is I'm curating those off markets specifically for you. They don't currently exist, but I'm going to get to work to do that. That's a really important part, and buyers understand that that's a different approach when you use the language that I use. At that point is I say, okay, great, the buyer blueprint, we're going to generate inventory specifically for you. And I ask them two really important questions. I go, can you see how that's a lot different than just the traditional home purchase process where you're just reacting to the market? They go, yeah. Now, if they say yeah, I ask the next question. Could you see a home search process, a proactive home search process like that working for you, for your home search in this area? They go, yeah, and go, great. Well, the next step is really simple. All we need to do to get started on proactively generating inventory for you is build that blueprint. And all we have to do for that is a 15-minute appointment on Zoom, in person, whatever I want to close for, right? And then I just go, what are you doing tomorrow at 3:30? Okay, great. Would you like it to be at your house, at a Starbucks, at my office, on Zoom? What's your preference? That's what we do, is we help expose the broken model that they're currently working with. We identify the pain that that model creates. And then from there, we help them understand that we have a better model that's going to suit their needs much better and get them in the home that they want. That's it. This is a crucial part of your business moving forward. Absolutely make sure you start using this right away. If you have any questions, you want to ask me questions about what's going on in real estate with my team, how to better prepare for these kind of conversations, you can always book some time with me. In the comments below, or actually in the description below, is a link where you could book one-on-one time with me. But just know that you should like, share, subscribe to this channel, because we're always giving fantastic real estate advice that's actionable, that you can use today in your business to enhance and grow your business. So without anything else, I'm going to let you get back to it. Happy selling.